In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto.
Question everything, trust nothing. It's your boy BlockchainCrusader here. Welcome back for another episode of Debate Crypto TA Thursday on the charts. We got Frankie Candles, Bill Noble, the one and only Magic Internet Money. What's going on, guys?
Doing well.
Hi, man. Thanks for having me.
Guys, this is my favorite episode of the entire week, right? We were just talking behind screen before everybody, right? Oh, we're coming up to the 1 year anniversary. We're almost at the 1 year anniversary of the top of the market, right? Just a year ago, we were saying 100K by December, baby. Let's go 100K. Now people are saying 10K. We're going down to 10K. But people are calling October the Uptober, right? Historically, Bitcoin's done pretty well in October's time frame. So today's the perfect time to talk about it. Are we going to be actually having an Uptober this month? Are we going to see us here before the elections? Are we going to, or the macroeconomic situation is going to keep pushing down and sideways until it bores everybody to death and escapes crypto and only the institutions are left? What are you guys thinking?
Well, I think they're definitely boring people out of the market, right? People are not interested. They're not used to this in crypto. So it's a little unnerving. It gives you 2018 PTSD, right? Because Bitcoin sat at 6K for 2 months, 3 months, and then fell out of bed. So I can see how it's unnerving, but, you know, I'm going to keep the faith.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I kind of always tell people, you know, they try to scare a lot. They scare the retail out of the market with the big capitulations down. And then anyone who's crazy enough to stay through that, they try to bore them out, try to weed out as many people as they can through boring them. And then, you know, then it's just us, the absolute crypto maniacs left.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? So you've got some pretty clear levels to work off of, and they're the same levels we've been looking at for damn near 100 days, unfortunately. But, you know, to kind of piggyback off what these guys said, when you get a top or a bottom like this, the reason why those ranges last so long is you're looking for one side has got to become exhausted. So sellers either have to become exhausted or buyers do. So in this case, you're looking to see, are buyers present? Are they going to be the dominant force in this area? And are they going to exhaust out anyone that's still looking for 10K and leave those guys wanting more, or holding a short that they shouldn't be holding and they end up fuel for the upside? So that's kind of where I'm looking at it. And we just need to know where the inflection points are in that.
100%, guys. If you guys are not following anybody on the panel here, guys, go follow them. Their information is down in the description of the video. Go smash the like if you haven't smashed the likes before we get into it, right? We're about to get into the whole shebang, Bitcoin, the charts. What's going on, guys? Who wants to go first? Frankie, you want to take it first?
For sure.
What are you seeing for Bitcoin right now, man? Is October a possibility for the people? I think they need a little bit of hopium, right? I think we're kind of drying out here in like a desert of just despair.
Totally. Yeah. I'll try to give them some hopium. Hopefully. Okay. You guys can see my screen now. So looking at Bitcoin, you know, if you want the hopium, I'll give it to you right here. The higher time frames right here, you can see on Market Cipher B, as you guys know, this is one of my main indicators that I use. But down here on Market Cipher B, you can see these momentum waves. Typically, with the momentum waves, you can see you do have a low here and a higher low here with a green dot printing, right? So this is nice because it's showing that momentum is coming to the upside. But on top of that, we do have slightly lower lows here also forming, right? So you do have somewhat of a bullish divergence forming on some of these higher time frames. And then we also do have it confirmed on the 3-day here, which is pretty nice. Now, I always tell people you want to be really careful. In a bear market, obviously, the bullish setups are not always going to play out as they do in a bull market. But these higher time frames are starting to look somewhat decent to me. But I do know we have that jobs report or employment report coming out tomorrow. So could be some volatility here. Obviously, you know, there is a rumored Binance hack that is going on. I just found that out on my live stream. Someone in my chat let me know about it. So, you know, there's black swans like this that we could see happen. You know, God forbid we saw something like an exchange like Binance go down. I do think that could be catastrophic. So anything short of a black swan or any crazy negative news, you know, the higher timeframes are, to me, looking like they are starting to set up in somewhat of a bullish pattern here, and could give us a decent move to the upside. However, you want to understand that those higher timeframes sometimes do take time to play out, so might get some volatility on the lower end. But there, you wanted hopium. That's the hopium I can give you. Is those higher timeframes are starting to look like they could be setting up to, you know, send the momentum a little bit to the upside here.
There we go. But I mean, that's good, man. I like that. I mean, I do hope the whole BNB situation is not another catalytic event where, you know, we start nosediving once again back down, right? Another Terra Luna here. We don't want to see that again. So I'm hoping that gets that issue gets fixed pretty quickly. I mean, I'm still surprised. I'm still processing the fact that BNB themselves are going through this kind of process when you just telling me. Bill, what are you seeing for Bitcoin this month? Uptober? Yes? No?
Okay, I'm gonna go with yes. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. So, Crusader, I know you like fib circle analysis. So, I started with this point from January 2021, where Michael Saylor started to ape in, and you draw the fib circle lines all the way out, you know, to where the market was in November of last year, as you noted, right, when everybody was like 100K. And these are like a lot like Gann lines. You know, you draw them and you see how things react in the past at various lines. So over here, you know, you can see in June, you know, that was Celsius, you know, breakdown out of the fib circle and collapse. Now over here, we're running right into one of the fib lines right near October 12th I had for one structure, which is when CPI comes out. The Williams oscillator, which is it's sort of like taking all the stochastics, RSIs, everything you can think of and smashing it into one. When this oscillator gets near zero, there's normally a big move. And at the bottom here, there's Bollinger Band width, okay? Bollinger Bands are a measure of volatility. It uses statistics. Crypto frequently focuses on, you know, when the bands are wide, there's a lot of volatility. When they shrink, and Bollinger Band width gets really small, when they get small enough in Bitcoin, it means we're ripe for a move because everyone has been bored to tears. All right. And then, you know, if you just look at this, right, this
Can't
is a
stop,
memo.
won't stop. That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Do you want me to go through this one with the chart, or do you want me to wait?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So is bad good for crypto, right? This is a memo from the Treasury. No, this is not a redact. This is actually a highlight. Janet Yellen convened a meeting of the Financial Stability Oversight Council, okay, at the U.S. Department of Treasury. Several council members noted their agencies are closely monitoring the effects of recent developments in financial markets. What developments are those? Could it be Credit Suisse, or is there an uh-oh in legacy the way there was an uh-oh in crypto with Celsius, 3 Arrows Capital, and Friends? So the Federal Reserve is going to have to capitulate. It just depends whether they do it after the jobs and inflation number or later on. I'm going to go with they've got to stop the hawkishness now, because if the Treasury knows there's a problem, there's a problem.
Okay, so that's a really good point that you're bringing up here. You're talking about the fact that some of these banks are coming up with, you know, problems with debt, you know, being defaulting. So you think that that's going to turn the money printer back on, and that would be great for Bitcoin, right? If the money printer turns back on, the quantitative easing begins once again, then we can start seeing movements up, you know, for Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency market. But you don't think that if there is a type of default in the market, whether there's quantitative easing later or not, we could see you know, a short-term drop in the crypto market just from panic and fear? What are your thoughts about that?
Right. So I guess if the default is big enough, or whatever's out there is big enough to rock the stock market, Bitcoin's going with it, right? You could just, you know, it's just like 2018. Okay. I think if the Fed gets any excuse from these numbers to back off the hawkish rhetoric, because that's what sent the market into a tailspin last time. So
Yep.
if they can back off the hawkish rhetoric and Bitcoin at least shows some signs of stability, then there's hope for October.
Nice. Yeah. So I do agree with that. That if there is a big default, maybe we are going to definitely see some short-term drops in the market just for the sheer fact of the panic that it will cause. And people are so instantly mentally right now correlating Bitcoin with the stock market that if the stock market does have a massive drop, just psychologically, people are going to be like, "Oh, crypto's done, crypto's dead, it's over." We're going to see that psychological drop. But hopefully we don't see that. Hopefully we see Bitcoin pumping as we see the stock market burning. Magic, what about you? What are you thinking for this month, man?
Oh man, I'm as neutral as Switzerland on price action. Mainly because, I mean, you're
We're
at
going
an
to end the
inflection
month
point.
at 20K.
Yep, no, we're just going to stay right where we are.
Probably.
No, I mean, you've got a very clear range. We've been trading it for a long time. Obviously, everybody wants resolution, and hopefully we get it. I think we're going to. Like Bill, I also have some time that actually lines up really nicely with what you've got going on. So I'll go ahead and share that. Always like to compare, especially when they line up. That's always good. For me, I'm looking at things, same fib distribution I've been giving you guys since the beginning of the summer, since the first show. We're looking for October 9th. For me, is a big inflection point in the market. It's going to be the edge of your golden pocket in terms of price distribution for what I call a Genesis pull for this cycle, or this last cycle. Low, big pump here, but this was a big one for me, and the big one for me here where distribution started. So there is an inflection point coming. One thing to keep in mind is that the cycles, while they don't have to be exactly the same, they obviously have been. Like this move up from the low to the high is identical to the low to the high here. It's exactly the same in time. It just only made it to a 61.8% projection in terms of trend-based projections instead of going a full one-to-one in price. So obviously the returns were less. November 7th is the next date for that to come into the exact one-to-one in time and price in terms of this drawdown from the last cycle. So it is an area that I'm looking at. I'm not really looking to trade it any particular way, but if we got a little pump in October, I don't necessarily think that means full on reversal, but I would be inclined to think that we might get something like that. There is some stuff saying essentially that we could visit the high of the range again. For anyone that uses the volume profile, you should know what it looks like by now. Everyone's on it. Right, so just coming right back up here into your local gold pocket as well. I believe it is this guy right here. So essentially, it's just a harmonic pattern. And when you put the timing on this one, it brings you out again into that like October 11th area. So it does say that if we're going to get a move up in the range, we're going to see it soon. Otherwise, I'd look lower. So I do think time is going to be something that we need to see actually expedited for once on this price action, if it's going to make that leg up to the top of the range. So if it doesn't make this leg by, the 9th or 10th, 11th of October, that could be a signal that we're coming back down, a sign of weakness, a failed, a partial rise is, I think, is what it's referred to inside of a range where you're looking for it to rotate back to the high of the range, except there wasn't enough buying pressure to do so. And a lot of that's going to be dictated by orders, which are dictated by what the policy is going to be. So again, to his point, we have a jobs report coming out tomorrow, but we also need to figure out exactly what the Fed is going to do with the current situation. So once we have that information, the things that, in my opinion, start to line up, the timing lines up, the areas of interest start to line up, and then you have that inflection point where all you've got to do, in my opinion, is just be on the right side of it. Don't gamble and try to guess. Just make sure that even if you didn't catch the exact top or bottom, that when the expansion of the range does come, that you're on the right side of it and you're not missing out and feeling that FOMO.
Dude, that's a great analysis. I mean, I really do hope that we don't come back down. I would like to see a 10K, but I don't want to stay down there for the next 2 months. I kind of want to start, moving back up again, right? If we are going to go down there, let it be a quick flash crash, and then we just keep on moving. But guys, if you haven't smashed the likes just yet, smash the likes. These guys are coming on here every Thursday to bring you amazing information, technical analysis. You don't get this just anywhere. Make sure you're following these guys on their channels to get their TA every day, all day. That put aside, so there are some indicators, some fundamental indicators, I guess you would call them, that are calling for Bitcoin to kind of have a pump. They have the hash ribbons flipping back over the green. They have the realized cap of the age of the Bitcoin called the bottom of the 2015 was 74% or 77%. In 2018 or 2019, it was also around the 70 something percent. And today, or right now, in the current last week or so, it's around the 74% again. So it could be back down, be calling that bottom once again for Bitcoin. There's the new all-time high of the hashing power, of the hash rates, and there's a few other indicators I can't remember right now. I covered them earlier this week. So that's why I was asking if Uptober was going to really happen, because some of these indicators were kind of firing off that Bitcoin could be primed up to go. But in the case that we don't go back up, for Ethereum, what are you guys thinking for the worst case of Ethereum, right? The bottom end. Are we going to see a sub $1,000 Ethereum if we don't see a sky rise for Bitcoin? We know that if Bitcoin rises, obviously it's going to pull up the market with it, right? So if Bitcoin makes the moves that you guys talking about and it does go up, we know Ethereum is going to go up. But if it doesn't, and it kind of stays either stale or a little bit lower, how low do you think Ethereum could be going here? And could somebody actually catch ETH once again sub 1,000? What do you think, Frankie?
Yeah, let me just go ahead and hopefully you guys can see my chart. Boom. I have a new system on my end here, so I'm trying to work through it. Okay, boom, here we go.
No worries.
All right, there we go. Okay, let me just bring my TA back up here. So for me, worst case for Ethereum, I would let me go ahead and hide this. This is basically where I would be looking for worst case for Ethereum. If Bitcoin were to lose its lows and come down to maybe that 12 to 14K range, I would be looking between, I've talked about this on my stream before, between about, I would say about $650 and, about $500. I don't want to waste too much time finding that exact line. Actually, I don't think I have it on. Yeah, I don't have it on this chart. But yeah, for me, worst case scenario is, between about $650 and $500. Now, I would be selling my organs if I could get Ethereum back down at that triple digit level. I actually missed it when it dipped down to the 3 digits in the most recent dip here at about 885. I missed that dip. So the second that Ethereum dips that back down into triple digits, I will 100% be scooping that up. But I could give you a bunch of reasons why I'm looking at that level, but I'll just keep it simple here. Just looking at the price action here. I mean, we do have that some technical support right here in that area of about at the top of this box here, about 685, I guess, and then the bottom of that box getting pretty close to $500. Now, my original thoughts for the bottom of Bitcoin, not only Bitcoin, but also for Ethereum would be to retest those previous all-time highs, which is kind of why I'm kind of stuck in a pickle, right? Like I would love Ethereum and Bitcoin to come lower, but if they don't go lower, I'll look really good because I'll have a bunch of clips of me saying that this was the bottom, which makes me think that we could go lower because doubt I'll get that lucky.
Dude, that's great. I mean, if we see a $650 Ethereum, dude, look, that sounds amazing. You're like, right now, I will go buy. I'll sell my house. I'll sell my car. You can eat. All of us are guys here. You could be selling some fluids for a premium price, right? And start buying some Bitcoin or some Ethereum, I would say. But at the same time, the level of panic at a $650 Ethereum, the majority of people won't buy it. I mean, I'm sure the people watching the stream, they might be some level of mentally prepared for it if it were to come. But the average person that is just in and out of crypto, not really paying attention because they're bored with what's happening in the market right now, they see a $650 Ethereum and they will probably shit themselves. They're like, there's no way I'm going to buy this thing. I'm probably going to start panic selling some more of my bags that they bought, at $1,200, $1,300. And they're gonna just panic sell, and that does happen. See, even my daughter's panicking already. She's like $600.50 Ethereum. What's going on?
Don't even say that.
Yeah. So I can see it, but I hope you guys are pretty prepared. I hope you guys are paying attention, watching these streams, staying educated during these times. For if that moment does come, you guys capitalize on these opportunities and you guys have a strategy and a plan. Obviously, nothing on here is ever any financial advice, but strategize. Come up with a plan that works for you, that you feel comfortable with, and execute. Bill, what are you thinking about Ethereum this month?
All right. So we're going to go to the worst case scenario. So if you have triple digit Ethereum, you have probably got a geopolitical event. There's a partial solar eclipse on the 25th that
there's nukes talking. There's talks
right.
about nukes happening, all kinds of craziness, food shortages.
Right.
So,
new sanctions today from Europe. Okay, so if you've got triple digit Ethereum, you've got maybe something kinetic happening on the geopolitical front, and you are correct. Be careful what you wish for when it comes to triple digit Ethereum. My worst case scenario is some very sort of simplistic math. On one hand, when ETH does go sideways after breaking these fib circle lines, big moves can occur, some up, some down. I'll spare you the history. In this particular case, I'm actually looking at 1150. 1150 is 40% off the merge high. Last time they did the Bitcoin halving, and it was a sell the fact event, Bitcoin fell 40%. So I'm guessing anybody who gets flushed from this range, the flush will be to 1150. If the flush is to 3 digits, then, you've got some sort of mini black swan event. And, your charts are only as good as the event, or as only as useful as they can be in an event like that. So I'm going with 1150, worst case scenario for ETH.
Dude, that's very true, right? In 1150, even though that's not a $650 ETH, that is still a great opportunity. I mean, just imagine when Ethereum was at 4,000, practically 5,000, how many people were saying, man, if only I had picked some of that ETH at 1,200, 1,400, 2,000. Now we're talking about 1,100, 600, 800, right? So I'm hoping people are preparing. But like I said, not financial advice. We're not telling you to buy or sell at any moment. No one ever knows exactly how it's going to go, right? Like Bill said, your chart's as good as the black swan event happens. If something crazy happens, no chart can predict how low something can go, and when there's a catalyst event that blasts through the roof, you never know how high it can go to, but that's always on the good side, right? But you don't want to miss the bottom either, waiting for this massive move up. A lot of people want to wait to start seeing green candles and say, well, now there's some life in the market, I'm going to start buying. But we know that crypto can move very quickly, and we can start seeing hundreds of dollars up in ETH's price in just a matter of hours to days. And next thing you know, you're buying another top before we come back down. So guys, always stay vigilant, always pay attention. Like I said, not financial advice. Magic Internet Money, my daughter is freaking out about these low ETH prices. What do you got for Ethereum?
Now, when you said worst case scenario, are you talking worst case scenario like locally, or are you talking like absolute, the whole market goes down?
Either one. You can hit a local price and then say, hey, if this doesn't hold, we can nuke all the way down over here.
Honestly, the TA I did a week ago still stands with how I feel about price now. That is XRP. We'll get Ethereum up. Apologies. So ETH USD is what we need. And I clicked on that. There we go. Bit of a messy chart on the weekly here. We'll go down to like the 1 hour. Just
by the way, guys, we got 90 people in here. We only got 50 likes. Smash the likes, guys. These guys are doing a lot of hard work for all of you guys. Show them some love. Smash the likes and make sure you go follow these guys on their channel. Links are down below.
All right, so Ethereum-wise, this was your point of control of your consolidation below here. Also just a structural support as soon as you look at it. And the golden pocket for us looking for the 702, which is just the edge of it, kind of that obscure fib, but it does come in handy occasionally. So what you're looking for is a reclaim of 1418. Once you have 1418 reclaimed, not only is it the merged value area low from January 3rd, it is also going to give you the prior all-time high. So you do have a little bit of confluence there. And then from there, you're just looking to rotate ranges up to the Q3 NPOC, also the prior month NPOC, and the local golden pocket high to low. That's the bullish case. So if Bitcoin is moving above 20,688 and 20,904, this little zone of support, I would expect Ethereum to make that 1574 jump. However, worst case scenario, right off the bat, you've got to hold on to 1070 to 1036, a little bit of a window there, about what, $34, $33.50. If you lose that area there, you are going to put some pressure onto, we talked about this a little bit, single print that's coming in this region, right? So I have it noted, single print opens up, closures are below. And what that means is you can look in the price action, see what I mean. There is no support here. So you just use a proper tool like ATAS. This is the Bitcoin chart, but same tool. And you look for single prints because it's going to let you know where the trend is going to be defended. And that's what this is. So when you see a single print and you see these, like we call them green mambas, whatever you want to call them, these big candles, when a trend is very strong, you'll actually come back to it and back test it and it'll hold as support. So you can read it two ways. You can say, if we find acceptance, this thing's going to nuke all the way back down to $730. However, it's in the best interest of anyone that's pushing this market up. And a lot of times it is big money. So you're watching the order flow to learn who's in control. Buyers are in control. The level is defended and established. Price moves up. Where do you come back to on the low? You're back to this same area because you've got people, one, that are underwater there because, you know, that's the last zone of resistance realistically right here. As soon as this re-enters, anyone that bought here or sold here has an opportunity to get out of that position if they still hold it, which we know they aren't, or get back in the market. So a little psychology there as well. But if you close below this, and this is the same for Bitcoin, I actually do think markets look pretty bad because that'll probably go into the traditional markets as well. I'm not looking for like a massive bounce, like, oh, 10K is the bottom, it's a normal cycle. I think things could potentially be broken for a very long time. And when I say that, just a couple years, which is a long time for us anyway. And I would be looking all the way down to this $500 level. There's several high time frame untapped averages in here. From like,
so you're saying we can range down there for years?
Potentially, yeah. You could spend a very good amount of time down here because you got to think this is 2 years right here. This is 2 years of price action. So if you come down this low, you are going to spend some time down here. And then it begins to look like the algo chart a little bit, where algo had a really huge base and you've now come right back to it. So you're going to spend some time in that for a while. But once you come out of it, you get really nice moves. So it's in the best interest of it to hold that 1036 level if reached. And bullish case scenario is above 1418, and we can have the conversation all over again about range targets. But for me, anything underneath $1,000, as they were saying, I would just be DCAing if that was my game. For me, you said, you know, can we pinpoint the bottom? I think you kind of can to a degree. Like the bottom off the COVID crash was actually a very technical level that was marked. It was not only a one-to-one move, but it was right into the quarterly NPOC from our lows at 3K. It left it naked, came back, filled it in, and then took off. So it just filled the inefficiency and off it went. TA is always fun to look back in hindsight. The question is, can you nail it in the moment? Can you stay organized enough to? You know, that's the hard part. So, you know, I don't think I have the levels there, but kind of on par with what Frankie was saying. This is the zone that I have marked off between $581 and $500. Worst case scenario, I think you could be looking down to 374, but I don't think that's something that we can really talk about while we're still entertaining price action up here. If Bitcoin's looking like it's going to pump and we start getting that move to the upside, there's no reason for us to be hoping for these prices. You have to take advantage of the opportunity in front of you and then make sure you're managing that risk. That's how I'm going to play it. But yeah, that's my doomsday scenario. Not to.
Dude, that's crazy. I'm glad my daughter didn't hear you, because if not, she'd be freaking out when you said those $500 price.
I mean, I'm actually saying, man, you got to get the kids out of the room for each 500.
Yeah, it's like, hey, your inheritance is going down the drain. Sorry.
Yeah, look at her. Hey, I got to sell you. I got to buy more ETH. I'm sorry. No kidding.
We got to do something here. I'm actually in the steps of selling my car right now, and I'm actually going to be making a good amount of money from selling my car. So I'm going to have some extra cash on the side. But if you're talking about ETH going to 500 for multiple years, I'm going to be on my Chevy legs for quite a while, let me tell you, because at those prices, my portfolio is going to be in the tank. Yeah. I don't know if I can.
And the tough part about that is everyone says they're going to buy in that moment, but you have to think about, if we saw that scenario, how stressed the economy would be. Not just cryptocurrency, traditional markets would be, you know, full on reversal. There would be no more like, hey, we're doing secular bull markets after a 20% recession. You would be looking at something that's probably a little more long lasting. And then the question of currencies comes in, like, you know, how's the US dollar doing? Is it still ripping? Or is there another currency or other countries still playing ball with it? There's just so many factors. So to me, if we get that low, things just don't look good. And that's why I would say, even though people say they're going to buy those levels, do they have the capital and the savings to, one, get through a period like that, and then two, when you get that much, it's not even FUD at that point. Things are fundamentally broken. People do get scared to put their money back in the market because they think it's broken, it's going to zero. It's really hard for investors to shake that. And I say that because that's the one thing that doesn't change is fear and greed in humans in markets. That's why TA works in markets most of the time. So buyers and sellers are going to run it the same way they almost always have, unfortunately, except for maybe the select crypto people. I will give you guys a hand there. There are some serious hodl hands in crypto. Some of those guys diamond hands, baby. Right? Yeah, they diamond hand it no matter what. And hey, I hope that works out for them in the long run as long as they're picking the right assets.
Dude, 100%, perfectly said. I'm actually gonna change up. So now we're coming into the altcoins, right? We talked about Bitcoin, we talked about Ethereum, but now I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Usually I let you guys pick an altcoin. This time I'm gonna give you an altcoin. So I hope you guys have something prepared and don't mind this curveball. But Frankie, do you have any charts on ADA?
Yeah, I can pull that up. Let me share my screen. Yeah, let's see. Actually, let's see. Boom. Here we go. I'm actually going to pull up a clean chart here, and I'm going to do it live. So for Cardano, Cardano actually, I believe, did get some news recently. I don't think it was huge, but I am a Cardano bull. I do like Cardano. It is something I'm looking to accumulate in the bear market, hoping back to what you guys were just talking about. Hopefully it doesn't wind up being a longer bear market than we're used to. I have been talking about this recently. Obviously, most or every single bear market that Bitcoin has seen has happened in a macroeconomic bull run. So, I've kind of been talking about if we do see a further decline in the macroeconomics, most likely going to see something completely different in this bear market for Bitcoin. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And I want time to accumulate ADA, but I don't want that much time to accumulate ADA. But just taking a look here on the higher time frames, getting a similar story. And again, I do want to stress that this is obviously going to depend on the macro. So take this with a grain of salt, but I am starting to see a very similar setup here, similar to Bitcoin, right? So you have your momentum coming to the upside, making higher lows here. You have your VWAP coming up, kind of showing that this momentum wave might continue to round off here and find a local or a temporary bottom here. But it would point momentum to the upside with some lower lows on your price action, giving you somewhat of a bullish divergence here, which in the long run would wind up being bullish. Obviously, these are the higher daily time frames, so again, gonna take some time to play out here, but. Continuing on here, looking at the daily, it does look like in the short term potentially could come down a little bit more, but just kind of for the longer term, I like a lot of these setups that we're getting on the charts with your momentum waves coming to the upside here, not as exaggerated as on Bitcoin, and then you do have your lower lows coming in here on your price action. So again, short of any, as long as we can keep the sentiment generally bullish, I do think that these higher timeframes can start to roll to the upside again, assuming that everything in the macro stays put and at least doesn't get worse. Something you want to realize is, there's a lot going on in the world, not just with the economy, but obviously world tensions. Crusader, you just mentioned the nukes. Obviously, things are getting a little bit sketchy. I just saw something online that some scuba divers off the coast of the Bahamas. Now, granted, I don't know, I have not completely fact-checked this, so take this with a grain of salt, but some scuba divers off the coast of Bahamas have been picking up submarine sonar. Which is kind of terrifying to me. But yeah, for Cardano, I pretty bullish on Cardano, and again, just kind of setting up on those higher time frames in the same kind of bullish patterns with those lower lows and the higher lows on your momentum, forming that divergence, giving you a potential longer term move to the upside. So yeah.
Dude, I love it. I've been dollar cost averaging Cardano for a long, long time. I've been dollar cost averaging Cardano since sub 10 cents for a long time. So I'm here for it, man. ADA is one of my long-term holds, so I'm all about it. Obviously, that's not financial advice to you guys out there. Bill, do you got any charts on Link or Matic?
Okay. Let's try Chainlink. See what we get.
Hey, Chainlink had a massive announcement by partnering up with Swift recently, so that is why I'm asking, because they have made a massive partnership. Everybody was talking about XRP and Swift. Well, here we have it: Swift and Chainlink.
Okay, so one of the things I've been looking at across the board in a lot of markets is, and actually Chainlink winds up being a really good example, is when you have a trend in DeMarc's work, right? You'll have what they call the setup phase. That counts a certain set of conditions from 1 through 9. And then once you get to the ninth set of condition, the ninth condition, which is like, I don't know, the high is high and the higher 2 days ago. DeMarc's was the original quant, right? So when you see this 9 and it's going up, normally you'll get a counter trend move. There'll be some sort of decline and then it can resume. Now in Chainlink, okay, this is a monthly chart, right? There was the 9 bottom was August, and I'm getting a little old waiting for my counter trend move. Okay, so Chainlink should go up. A lot of cryptos should go up, yep. And I'm sitting here going, "Are we there yet?" All right. What was the other one you were asking?
Matic.
Okay. Does the world need a layer 2 post merge?
Well, Disney's all about it, and I think Starbucks was getting involved with them as well.
Okay. All right. So this is the DeMarc work on Matic on a daily basis. So, here is your 9 signal. Now, Magic has his own way of defining ranges. I can't believe it gets any more sophisticated out there than that. For me, it's DeMarc, right? So when you're in a range, these 1 through 9 signals can be fantastic. So, at the top end of the range, you'll get the count 9, and then it'll go back down again, and then back and forth. So in Matic, this looks like kind of the high end of the range. There's resistance up at, I guess that's 94 cents, this recent high. But this looks like just sort of another listless altcoin. In other words, I don't think we're depending on Matic to move the market higher, okay? Because, you get a 9 top, you get a 9 bottom here. It rotates up, you get a 9 top, and it's just sideways unless there's a coin-specific catalyst coming up.
Dude, 100%. Matic and Chainlink, massive announcements in the past couple of weeks. So I've definitely been wondering what their TA is looking like. Whoa, what happened to the lights went off?
My sign went out. I hope it's not an EMP.
Oh, no. So perfectly said, Bill. I love it. Matic is one of those other coins that, massively underrated, can do a lot of things. But it's a good point what you said. Are they needed after this post merge? So who knows? We'll see. But I think they're going to be sticking around. If not, Disney wouldn't be getting involved. Some of these other companies that can do massive research on what is the future of these companies. And Chainlink, like I said, massive partnership with Swift. So talking about Swift, people talking about in the chat. I saw you pulled up a chart about XRP, Magic. So what does the XRP community, right? XRP has been pumping massively this past week, past month. A lot of hope for XRP to one day reclaim $1. But are we going to see that anytime soon?
No. Our XRP guys are either going to love me or hate me. So they should like me. If you recall, that was like the very coin I covered on TikTok when I started putting those out. And XRP was easy to call back in July of 21, where it moved $1.35, then down to 29 cents. Literally only one guy in my comment section was okay with it. Everyone else was telling me that I was insane. You've come into a major zone on XRP. So this is going to be where you find your overall point of control for that move up. So where's this XRP chart? We'll have 2 of them up. I don't need all the data for Bybit.
Guys, smash the likes. We got almost 100 people in here. We got like about 80 likes. I know we can get 90 likes. before the end of the stream. So smash those likes. These guys in the comments section are savages. They're saying Frankie's sign is on the Solana network. Having an outage.
That's pretty good.
God, that's just not right.
If it makes you feel any better,
Savage.
Frankie, my sign actually shit the bucket behind me. The Bitcoin Piggy one did. So
Completely?
yeah, it won't even turn on. I left it on overnight. I don't know if it got too hot or what, but I forgot to unplug it after I was done doing something, and now it won't. And I'm like, I'm just gonna buy another one. It was like $50 or something, so it wasn't that expensive. But
Oh no.
kind of a bummer, and I really liked it. My daughter loves it, so I'll get another one. But XRP. So straight away, guys, XRP, you've got a really fundamental range right here. Okay, so what you're doing is you're just going to the yearly chart. Okay, we're looking for closures here. We're not looking for anything in between. As Bill said, there's sophisticated ways to find ranges, but there's also very simple ways. And I do this on Bitcoin as well, because sometimes you do have to get back to, okay, how do I just make this easy for myself to digest and keep a clear head on what's going on? So you had a 12-month level of resistance and support here that was already established. That was actually your high coming in for that 2021 pump, right? So now if you zoom back out to the weekly, I say zoom out, you're coming right back into support on a descending triangle. So you do need to see this zone reclaimed right around 58 to 60 cents. You're coming back there. Where did you end up though? You ended up at a really, really nice 1618 expansion into an 886. Anytime you see that, if you guys study Scott Carney, go to harmonictrader.com. He's also wrote 3 books on these. That is going to be generally a reaction zone. So what you're looking for is the extension and expansion of these waves, essentially going down to that specific combo, 1618 and 886, because you got to think the drawdown is almost 100%. So it's extended pretty heavily to the downside. And you've got a 1618 expansion of your B2C, this move here to the downside. So you've got really overdrawn and priced down. The markdown's been severe right into the overall point of control from this price action all the way over to X. And from there, you're just looking to say, am I getting a bounce? I bought 34 cents on here. I did not just, blindly buy 29 cents. I almost didn't buy this at all, but I figured if I made the call a year ago, I'll trade it, and it's panned out really well. I have hit my take profit one. I'm gonna let the rest ride, because traditionally the target on this is going to be this B leg here, this pivot, which came in very quick. But the really nice thing about this for me to determine validity is that it's a one-to-one move almost. So this is a very symmetrical harmonic. It's a very nice one. You've come into major inflection point just above the range low. So you've got a lot to say that this is going to give you at least a rally. The question is, where does it become real? And when should I be considering that XRP has flipped the switch, so to speak, and we're going to see the range highs at maybe $1.57 to $2 again? You've got to be living above $1.03. So you can see this is where you settled up on a weekly candle down to the wick. All you're doing is extending that over. And your first target is technically the B leg here, coming in at 87 cents. That is also going to start tying into some of these. Is this my YouTube? Yeah, this is YouTube chart. This is also going to start tying into some of the volume work that I do. When you start zooming in, I like to use TPO values quite a bit. So for me, 88 cents was actually the line in the sand for me on the breakdown when we rejected from this right here. This is your 6M2, or the second 6 months of price action for all of the year. I track every session, everything from the daily up to the weekly, monthly, quarterly, 6-month, yearly, bi-yearly. Keep all that data handy, and then I just kind of merge it and figure out where am I really looking at. And this was the level. So 88 cents is a huge inflection point up to about $1.09. So 88 cents, if you clear that, which is the bottom of our harmonic here, your first target, we can start to say things are getting interesting. And you can already see, if you just draw a line right here, and we'll make it nice and bold, you can see straight away that this would be forming some form of a bottom at that point. If you could start claiming this region, you could call it a double bottom. Maybe it does a inverse head and shoulders. And people say patterns won't be that clean. I would beg to differ. We've seen it that clean before on XRP. This was a very clear head and shoulders right here, and a very nice move up. So if you're going to see something out of it, I think you guys are going to have to be patient. I really don't see anything in the charts. Even with the lawsuit, don't take this personally, but if you guys are pricing in the lawsuit as not priced into the price already, I think you're making a huge mistake. Markets are pretty efficient, all right? And so orders are affected by news. And for people to say, well, you couldn't buy it anywhere in the US. Well, retail is not moving the price of XRP, unfortunately. Hate to break it to you. And if you wanted to get XRP, it was very easy to do. Like you could have went to numerous exchanges and got it and accumulated it. So to me, this looks like a very nice reversal pattern. Hasn't done anything of note yet. And it's kind of, it gives me two things. When you get a move up like this, it does remind me a little bit of QNT's chart as well. But if you recall with ADA, we were just talking about it. Remember how ADA went sideways back in like, I think it was like 2018, 19. It didn't do anything. It was at like 3 cents and it drove everyone nuts. Everyone's like, ADA's never going to do anything. Is Charles ever going to do anything, right? And eventually it just exploded. It was like a 100x coin and it was a top coin, which never happens on those big caps. If XRP can hold this range without breaking down and eventually claim this 199 area and break to the upside, this range expansion could give you guys some of those all-time high targets you want. The question is if it's going to do that. And so we're going to have plenty of time to dissect that. And I think that when you have a move up like this, right, such an aggressive blow off almost top, you're going to get a pretty long drawn out period of, are we distributing those buyers still? Are they still distributing price? Or do we have a new formation that's coming in, and do we have a new paradigm where we're going to eventually shift back to the upside and the trend continues? So I would be patient with it. Trade the levels. If you lose, I would say if you lose 37 cents, give or take, it's not time to panic necessarily, but you're definitely probably going to make a new low. And I would be looking not at 10 cents, but I would say 19 cents at this range low here, right around 19.25 cents would be the target on that. But for me, I'm long on XRP right now.
On that one.
Yeah, they would be. I would be a buyer here. I'll be upfront with you. This is going to probably produce a pretty phenomenal bounce. The only way I wouldn't buy it is if we came down there and like we were saying, like XRP loses a lawsuit, World War III is breaking out. I'm probably not buying anything. I'll be upfront with you at that point. I'm waiting. I'm probably waiting to see what happens when the dust settles. But you know, I mean, this chart has been really a pleasure to trade and very, very easy to trade. A lot of people say it was a manipulated chart and that you couldn't have traded it. And all you had to do was put the levels on the chart, do some basic macro analysis, and then trade what was given to you. And if you did, you sold up here. And even on this bounce right here, the video even said you will bounce to $1.35. You should be expecting that around the EQ on this right here. When you come into the EQ, what did you get right here? Really nice bounce. What did we get once we came back to the EQ? You got this nice rally. I think it was $1.41. And then came back down to the natural target of the range, which is the point of control. So it was just a matter of planning and then being patient. Because you got to remember, this is a weekly chart. This is all the way back in July, and this is, you know, June of 2022. So it was a full round trip year almost.
Wow.
But XRP is a chart like any other, man. I don't have anything against XRP. I just don't think that the math makes sense with the targets. And I think the community gets a bad rap because they do live in an echo chamber and they do defend only that position. They really don't see that there are two sides to every position. There are two sides to every coin, and that you can't just buy something and be like, you know, if I just hold this, I'm going to be a millionaire. You know, people will say that about Bitcoin, but that's still, they don't know. We don't know what technology is going to be like in 5 years or 10 years. It's a completely false statement. It's a false sense of security where you get stuck holding a bag. It'd be like hanging on to JCPenney forever at that point. You know, you might just go to zero. So that's all.
They're definitely drinking the Kool-Aid. I can tell you that. I mean, the $5.89 price makes no sense to me.
I try to only put out XRP videos now when I know that a pump is coming. Like if it's going to pump back up, I'll put a video out on it, because otherwise, if I put something out and it's like realistic targets, like the 29 cents, dude, I got people in my DMs. I had to open up the request, and these guys were telling me to like jump off a bridge, and that they hope I got hit by a car. Same thing happened to me with QNT. I made a QNT video at $400. I said it was going to go down sub 200, and people were like literally sending me death threats. And I was like, dude, this is like the peak of mania. That's how I knew the top was in too. Yep. I was like, that's how I know. Some guys like, you're an idiot.
It's the ISO coin. It's the ISO coin realm, dude. Like they like are on a whole nother level of like cult like thinking. Like you think the Illuminati are bad. Like the people that follow these ISO coins, bro, they will tear you apart if you're not promising them the gains that they were promised by the so-called elites. I mean, it is crazy how the matrix works with these people.
You know, I hope they get what they want. You know, I don't think any of them are ever serious, like they would do anything to me. But like, you know, the things that people write on the internet are kind of like, good Lord, man. Like you've got to be you got to at least like pass like a vibe check apparently to be in the comment section these days.
I mean,
and so
100%. Like the XRP ISO coins are the best thing about them is engagement. If you need engagement on your videos, talk about XRP, good or bad, you're gonna get tons of views. And it's like that with Quant and the Algorand and all the other coins. But HBAR, XRP, dude, those people will eat you alive. Either they'll love you one moment or hate you guts the next, depending on what you say about any of the ISO coins. But guys, that was amazing. If you guys haven't smashed the likes yet, smash the likes. These guys are doing so much work for you guys every Thursday night on here, doing TA on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins of the choice. I mean, you guys can't get any better information. The only way you get better information if you go follow these guys on their own channels and watch their TA religiously, right? So that's the only way it's going to get any better, guys. So any final words from any of you guys, Bill, Frankie, Magic, before we close it out?
I'll just say this. Just be careful because I talk about this all the time. I know everybody talks about the 4-year cycles, and yes, I get it. But again, I constantly say this on my channel. Every Bitcoin bear market, every crypto bear market has happened in a macroeconomic bull run. So could the bottom be in potentially? Yes, that is a possibility. But just understand that there's a lot of stuff going on right now that has not gone on during the previous bear markets and bull markets. So just be ready and don't be super deterministic in either direction. I love that Magic Internet Money said that. A lot of people are afraid to say I'm neutral. It could go up or it could go down because that's not what people want to hear. But I love that Magic Internet Money said that because it's the truth sometimes. So yeah, just be realistic.
100%.
I just don't believe the dollar.
Yeah.
I know the dollar is parabolic. I'll skip picking up the chart. I know you all know this. But the dollar made the front cover of Bloomberg Business Week, like smashing little images of other fiat currencies. So I have such a hard time trading with the media, right? That, I'm prepared. I'm prepared for like the day where Bitcoin wakes up and goes, oh, we're not going to do this dollar up, Fed super hawkish thing. That said, Magic Internet Money has pretty much been right about everything since I've been on this show. And this whole idea of like sweeping that 1,000, it kind of keeps me up at night. You know what I'm saying? Like I think about that and I'm like, oh my
I would prefer not to go back there, to be honest with you.
I think about that. I'm like, oh my God. The guy is he's so right about it too. He sees these points and I'm like, the dollar is so overdone. But I guess the final point is if the dollar's overdone and Bitcoin should go up, okay, all right, great. But if it doesn't, then I think you got to have your magic scenario tucked in case solar eclipse and geopolitical events happen.
Yeah, dude, that's 100%. If anybody doesn't know yet, I mean, it happened earlier this week. The UN did call for the Federal Reserve to stop raising interest rates, right? Because it's crushing Europe. Europe is in a financial crisis, energy crisis.
Africa.
Yeah, they're in all types of crisis mode overseas, right? And not just Europe, but in many different countries around the world. So there's a lot of things going on right now. Also, to the point that Frankie said, right? We're seeing a lot of things happening in a short period of time that we have not seen in the span of the last 10 years with Bitcoin's 4-year cycles. So things can be thrown off 100% in a crazy direction spiral at any moment. I think it was the extra haters. They were trying to suppress me.
Right. It's like we've been hacked.
The XG haters, man, they're trying to suppress me. I don't know if it was the last thing I said that you guys heard, but could we go back down? Yes. Could things spiral out of control? 100%. A lot of macroeconomic factors are taking place that we've never seen before. Things can go in either way. I'm diamond hands for life. I'm in it to win it, right? I'm in it about get rich or die trying, but that's me. I'm not a trader. That's why I bring you guys on the show, right? Because you guys are the traders. You guys are the TA experts. I'm not. That's just what I'm doing. Never financial advice. So, Magic, what do you have for the people before we close out?
I actually like what Bill brought up about the dollar, and I'll give Bill a little hopium. I posted this back in July. Got to give you a little hopium, Bill.
Oh, please.
So DXY, Again, another harmonic pattern. I do these. This is a very high time frame, 3 months. So when everybody was looking for tops on the dollar, like around $1.08, $1.05, my target has just about been hit, almost to the T. Looking for this to come in again. We're looking for an over expansion of legs here to the 886, up into the gold pocket of our macro retracement. So you have fib convergence. We have a 12-month level here in an order block, and that would be the target of this range expansion in logarithmic scale into a reversal pattern. Coincidentally, on the SPX, I'll get rid of this real quick. You have the same thing happening on the SPX. You are at macro support right now. So what you had coming into this was, again, another harmonic. I mark them as fun because I find them fun. And the timing on it was pretty good. So you have a 2-spot expansion into the 1618. This is a deep crab with an 886 here into the 7, which you can do anywhere from a 382 to an 886 for this. So this is kind of irrelevant. What you're looking for is this D leg. Again, you want at least a 1618, and you want at least a 200% expansion of B to C. So this is twice as long as this move up, and it's showing that you should see reversal. Where you'll know the reversal is real is coming in at the B leg right here. Your gold pocket and your annual, well, your biannual pivot, that's one that you can calculate by hand. In this case, you'll have to, is coming in here, and that does start to line up with our annual ranges. So we're looking at things from a very high time frame. If this was to be a full-on reversal, get above the B leg as we spoke about, right around 41.14. That is also getting you back into essentially your all-time high range, and then you can start playing with numbers. Can we push from there? But in the short term, this is the value area low of the dynamic and developing yearly range for all of 2022, which is coming to an end in about 2 months. And you can see we're bouncing from our target. We're looking to see if we can't test the 61865 of this local pull, which is just the high to low. Get back in there, Bill, and we've got some things to talk about, because then the DXY is pulling back. The macro picture's looking better here. We'll have to see what the Fed says, obviously, but that's your hopium. So the TA is kind of starting to point that we could see at least a short-term reversal, which we already kind of are, but we need to see it have legs now. And so if it can start reclaiming some of these levels, you start coming into the theory of maybe this was a bottom. No one will ever really truly know. We'll question if it was a bottom for months going forward, but you would at least have something as an edge on your side to justify putting your money into the market if you haven't already, and getting long in that situation. Now, if you lose this level of support, fucking Nuketown. Excuse my language. Nuketown, we're going straight down, and I would expect everything else along with the DXY to rip up. So that's it.
There you guys have it.
This was
It's sink or swim, baby.
It's like I can't trade with this. Can't stop, won't stop the dollar. I can't go on with that. I can't. Not in business week.
I agree. I think the dollar's kind of a sham a little bit. Not to get like political on it. It's just the way they run things. It's one of those things where everyone's in crypto for that reason. We all kind of got into Bitcoin probably, or some form of it, because we didn't really believe in the current fiat system, and then we all found out we could also get really rich in it very quick, potentially, if you played your cards right. And that kind of took over the space, I feel like. But at its core, most of the people that got in and are still in are in it for the right reasons.
Dude, perfectly said. So is anybody putting their money in? Are you feeling comfortable right now? We'll find out next week on the next episode of Around the Charts. Guys, great panel. I love having you guys on here every single week. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So just leave you guys with, like always, question everything, trust nothing, and until next time, hodl like it's hot. See you guys.